Hello and good afternoon, guys, and happy Sunday to you all. Today it's April 10th, so I'm going to do a weekly roundup podcast again today. And I thought for today's video I would bring back the jersey backdrop as well. Actually, I'm going to turn my television off here. There. That way it looked like the light from my television, the program was flickering, and it was kind of like that. So I thought, okay, maybe I just turn that off for the video. So I want to talk a little bit about the Carolina Hurricanes this week, because thanks to my Discord guys, and thanks to you guys for posting the photos, the Carolina Hurricanes, it's been brought to my attention that they've been experimenting with the black pants from their third jersey with both their away uniform and recently their home uniform as well. Where with their home uniform for a game, they wore the black helmet and the black pants that go with their third jersey, and with their away uniform recently, and the black gloves too. And recently, with the away uniform, they wore it with their black gloves and their black pants. So I definitely feel that was an interesting choice. I have to say, I thought that the black pants looked decent with their home uniform and the black helmet. However, there was a recent comment that I think I saw on the forums of sportslogos.net that I completely agree with. Because Carolina is yet another red and black team, is one of many red and black teams in the NHL, the red pants and the red helmets really help them stand out from everybody else in a very, very well-used color scheme. Or, does that sound right? Yeah. So, with the Hurricanes wearing red helmets and red pants with their red home uniform, those two pieces of equipment help them stand out in a rather well-used color scheme in the NHL. I mean, it also doesn't hurt that Ottawa has now switched to being black and red instead of red and black. But yeah, with Carolina, I do think the black pants and black helmet looked all right with their home uniform, but I do prefer the all red. It definitely helps them stand out more. And another thing, though, this equipment change, in my opinion, has also brought back it has been a reminder of how much better their original uniforms they had when they won their Stanley Cup in, I believe, 2006 are, compared to what they're even wearing now today. I mean, I like that in the past 5 years we've seen their home jersey and now more recently their new away uniform have the storm squares in their striping again, but they're not prominent. I miss the prominent storm square striping. It is the one feature that let Carolina really stand out compared to the other red and black teams in the NHL. So that, I definitely felt that the black equipment made the Hurricanes' home uniform look more like the Blackhawks' home uniform, which, it still looked good. I mean, you could definitely tell they're different, but I just feel that Carolina's home uniform with the black equipment, you know what it really reminded me of? It reminded me of the Blackhawks' home uniform, and that was something I'm not a fan of. As for the away uniform, though, there were people that I found had the same opinion that I do, that with the black equipment, it makes Carolina's away uniform basically look like Canada's 2002 Winter Olympic winning white uniform. The white jersey, the black pants, and the white socks. Personally, here's my view on that. I actually believe the black equipment makes their away uniform look 10 times better. I don't like the black equipment with their home uniform, but I like it much better with their away uniform. That away uniform, that red word mark, there's just too much red and not enough black in my opinion. I feel the black pants and the black gloves really tied it in nicely. And this is something I've been saying for a long time too. Why did Carolina put a red word mark on the front of their away jersey instead of a black one? Like, that would have really tied things in much better. Even though, I'm not a fan of nickname word marks, for the record, I will say this. If the word mark was black instead of red, I do believe that that uniform would be a lot better looking. That's my view. You don't have to agree. I respect your opinions, guys. But that's how I feel. I just think that, Carolina, they made a mistake. Their old away uniform was much better. And you know what I really, really think they need to do? They need to just go back to their Stanley Cup winning uniforms. Either that, or maybe it's time to take the time to come up with something entirely new. I would not be opposed to that if that was um, also going to include the return of the Storm Square striping as something prominently part of their jerseys again, not just something that's quietly screen printed into the waist striping. I'm not a fan of that, even though I like that at least it's back on the jerseys again in some capacity, but it's not enough. But what else was I going to mention with Carolina too? I still believe that the black jersey they wore in the Reebok era is by far and away the best jersey the Hurricanes have ever worn. I I know that the logo is only one storm square to represent a tropical storm, but I do not care. It is the best jersey that the Hurricanes have ever used, in my opinion. I thought the gray storm square striping, the red accents, the red numbers, everything about that uniform top to bottom I have loved since the moment it came out. I remember the very first game that they wore it against the Detroit Red Wings. That's how much I like this jersey, or like that jersey that I'm talking about. I miss it. I still think it's by far and away the best jersey Carolina has ever worn. And yeah, I don't blame Carolina or the fans of the Hurricanes that would prefer them to wear red as their main color, not black. I don't blame you for that, but I gotta say that black jersey is my favorite, and it completely topples. It is completely superior to their new black third in every way. I mean, even though the new logo is pretty good, I like the new logo that they're using, but the problem is it's oversized. It's completely oversized. And it's just and I don't like that dark gray shoulder yoke either. Up close it's fine, but from a distance it's so muddled. It looks like they've got a red phantom shoulder yoke, like they took a page out of the Anaheim Ducks design playbook. Jesus Christ. What a horrible uniform. I mean, there's parts of it that I think are kind of neat, like the heathered red striping, but that gradient effect that's inside of the red striping, you know what it does? It makes it darker. And it makes it bleed into the black jersey base when you're watching the players skate on the ice even more. It's not good. Speaking of not good, I can hardly wait for the Oilers to get rid of the orange home jersey. I saw it last night against the Avalanche, and man, the orange and navy, I'm sick of it. The striping style that they use, they should have used the WHA style striping at the bare minimum, but that navy looks like black on orange. It looks like a Flyers type of design. It reminds me of the Flyers 2012 Winter Classic uniform a little bit. It's very different, but in terms of the style of the uniform, the Oilers need to go back to wearing royal blue for sure. So, I mean, I get it too that, hey, they've taken their sweet ass time going back to royal blue. They probably saw that, hey, the fans aren't too happy about the switch to this new fluorescent orange and navy. So since we've switched to these new colors, let's use this opportunity to push a new navy blue alternate, which they did. I kind of figured that was coming. And of course, I mean, the navy blue alternate, besides the logo on the front, it's mediocre and it's monochrome crap. I don't like it. The logo's great. But the sad part is I still believe to this day they could have done something really cool with a heathered orange striping or something on that design with that logo. But no, they had a pair of super thin orange stripes on each arm, super close together, and then a little bit of orange trim on the bottom of the jersey. Do you notice that a lot of teams use that type of style now when Adidas makes jerseys for them, like Toronto's new third jersey? I just thought I'd throw that little bug in too. I'm not a fan of that at all. But yeah, that's something else that I do not like one bit. And something else that I found really interesting as well is that the Vancouver Canucks, I heard a rumor that about something about Paul Maurice maybe being an option for the Canucks as their next head coach, but they just hired Bruce Boudreau. And with Bruce Boudreau as the coach of the Canucks, they've actually been decent to watch since he's been hired. And another thing, I think because of Bruce Boudreau being the coach, right now the Canucks, believe it or not, actually still have a small chance to crack the playoffs. I don't think they will. Um, but I gotta admit, last night I was watching the Canucks game against the Sharks, and seeing the Canucks win, I was like, wow, this team actually still has a realistic shot. I mean, I'd love to see Vancouver squeak in, but, obviously I think they've got their work cut out for them, and I don't think they're going to be able to squeak past Nashville, Dallas, and Vegas for one of those final two wildcard spots. And that's another thing. They got to go back to the old conference format where the top seeds are the division leaders and everybody else is seeded 3 through 8. I don't like this wild card format. It creates too many of the same matchups year in, year out. And, I just don't like the way it is. I just don't. I don't agree with it. I think it should be a conference format again. It was better that way. You had more variety of matchups, and sometimes that was both good and bad for certain teams. I know that a lot of Leaf fans probably would prefer the old format because I would not be surprised if Toronto has to deal with Boston in the first round again, but I'll be honest, I'd love to see Toronto finally go on a run just for the fact that, you know what, they're a Canadian team, and right now I think they're the one and only shot we have at seeing a Stanley Cup raised here in Canada this year. So, yeah, also note I threw in my Leafs jersey for this video for the backdrop. But yeah, I hope that Toronto can at least squeak past the first round. But that was something else I found interesting too. According to this article I was reading, supposedly Bruce Boudreau would like to one day coach for the Leafs or something. I think that's what it said. Or maybe he had a dream of coaching the Leafs or something. I'd have to reread it again. I think it was from dailyhive.com or something. I can't remember. I'd have to check. But yeah, I mean, if Toronto loses in the first round again, Sheldon Keefe gets fired, that is very much a possibility. And then Paul Maurice being the Canucks coach, that would be interesting. I mean, as somebody who does watch the Canucks, I will say this. I do like Bruce Boudreau. And I noticed that the Canucks have been much, much better under his tutelage than Travis Green. And I do hope that Bruce is given another shot in Vancouver. I like Bruce. I do think the Canucks should try and let him stick around for a couple more seasons at least, because with his coaching, I think we have enough decent players on our team that, with his coaching for the entirety of next season, I think the Canucks could be a significantly better team than they have been up to this point this year. So, yeah, I really hope that the Canucks will elect to keep Boudreau for as long as they can. Was there anything else at this point that I wanted to talk about? I saw Ottawa's away uniform yesterday as well. And you know what I hate about it? Why is there not a black stripe above the red stripe on the bottom of the waist? Like, if you're going to create a jersey, why not have everything tie in together? That's the only thing they had to do, and that jersey would be a 10 out of 10. I like how the arms have more white on them now than the original white Senators jersey had in the 90s and the 2000s, up till 2007. So, like, Ottawa was so close, and they just half-assed it. It's like, why? Why did you do that? And there was another thing, too. I noticed that last night on Q13 Fox, I think that's what it's still called, the Fox Seattle channel, they actually televised a Seattle Thunderbirds game last night against the Spokane Chiefs. Now, obviously, I would prefer if there was a Vancouver Giants game that was televised because of where I live here in BC. But the fact I got to watch a WHL game last night was awesome. And, you know, it was a nice change. And I'd love to see more CHL games televised. I really would. It's been great to see TSN starting to televise CHL games, and I think they will be televising the Memorial Cup this year instead of Sportsnet, which is fine with me. But, you know, I gotta say, yeah, that was a nice treat last night to see some junior hockey. It was a nice change, and I would love to see more of that on TV going forward. So this video I'm going to keep relatively short at 16 minutes. I'm not going to go and talk on any more subjects. I do want to make a monthly update video, and now I feel comfortable doing it in the next 5 to 10 days because of the timing of last month's monthly update. So that'll be back on Facebook this month, and then from there I can go back to doing videos earlier in the month again, because I was so late in February, because I was actually working on a contest entry for Post to Post's most recent Design a Team contest that he had. Unfortunately, my jersey didn't even make it to that video, which is a bummer, but it is what it is. So with that, guys, have a good week. Hopefully, it'll be a good week for all of you watching, and until my next video, you guys, take care, and as per usual, bye for now.